quick ad. With Time Twist, you get exciting, bizarre, and significant historical events delivered to your phone every single day. Enjoying this episode? There's so much more in the app. You'll find the link in the show notes. Let's get started.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, forget sweeping eras or single big topics. We're taking a different approach. We're zooming right in on just one calendar date, June 12th.
That's right.
And you might be surprised, actually, at just how much history, how much variety is packed into this single day.
Absolutely. We've gathered, a really fascinating mix of moments. We're talking major political shifts, cultural milestones, even deeply personal stories, all tied to June 12th.
So what's the goal here for you, the listener?
Well, the idea is to uncover some surprising connections, maybe some stark contrast, too, all within these 24 hours. It's kind of a shortcut, really, to getting a richer feel for how history unfolds, just by focusing on one day. Consider it your rapid immersion into June 12th.
Okay, let's dive in. Where should we start? How about with a name that everyone knows, Anne Frank?
A powerful place to begin.
She was born on June 12th, 1929. And what's really poignant is that on her 13th birthday, June 12th, 1942, she got that diary.
Right. That simple gift.
Which, of course, became one of the most important, most enduring documents of the whole century.
It's really striking, isn't it, the convergence. You have this young life starting out full of potential, and then years later, same date, a simple notebook becomes the way she records everything as her world closes in.
Yeah.
That unassuming checkered diary. It ended up speaking for millions. You have to wonder, what is it about her words, those universal feelings, maybe, that still resonate so deeply today?
That's a really good question. It speaks volumes about, I suppose, human resilience, but also fragility, doesn't it?
It does.
Okay, let's move forward in time a bit. The Cold War casts a long shadow, and June 12th is significant here, too. 1987. Ronald Reagan at the Brandenburg Gate.
Why, yes. The speech.
That unforgettable line, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. It was pure political theater, maybe, but what was the real impact?
Well, it was definitely dramatic, but I think it was more than just rhetoric. It really tapped into a growing feeling, a desire for change. It certainly increased the pressure on the Soviet bloc.
So not just words.
Not just words. The wall didn't fall the next day, obviously, but that speech became this potent symbol. It amplified the calls for freedom leading up to the wall actually coming down. It really makes you think about language and its power to shape politics. And this theme, this idea of shifting global power, it continues just a few years later on the very same date.
Absolutely. Fast forward just 4 years, June 12th, 1991, Boris Yeltsin gets elected.
The first popularly elected president of Russia.
Yeah, that feels like a massive moment, a real turning point in the Cold War narrative.
It truly was. It clearly signaled a move away from the old Soviet system towards something entirely new for Russia.
So you have Reagan's call and Yeltsin's election, same date, different years.
Exactly. Both on June 12th, just a few years apart. It kind of underscores these dramatic changes happening as the Soviet Union was, dissolving.
And that idea of changing borders, alliances evolving, it keeps going.
It does. We see it again just a few years later.
Right. June 12th, 1994. Austria votes to join the European Union. After centuries of division in Europe, that feels like a big step towards, integration.
Precisely. A conscious choice for collaboration, moving past those historical divisions. It's interesting when you put these June 12th events together, isn't it?
How so?
Well, within just, 7 years, you have a powerful call to tear down a wall, and then concrete steps like Yeltsin's election, and Austria joining the EU, building new kinds of unity.
That's a great point. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about a different kind of intensity. Passion and protest. June 12th, 2009, Tehran.
The Green Movement protests following the disputed election.
And this was a moment where technology, specifically new social media, played a huge part, right?
Undeniably. Twitter, especially. It became this vital tool for organizing, for getting information out, especially when other channels were blocked.
It really changed things.
It did. It highlighted how these digital platforms could, fundamentally alter the way political dissent happens, how visible it becomes compared to earlier times. It raises big questions about technology and activism.
Now, in complete contrast to political unrest, June 12th also brings the raw emotion of sport. Think 2014.
Right, the FIFA World Cup in Brazil.
Their opening match, June 12th, they beat Croatia 3-1. And Neymar basically became an instant hero.
Oh, the atmosphere must have been incredible.
Right.
Football passion in Brazil is just legendary. That opening win on home soil, it would have been electric.
A real unifying moment, maybe.
Definitely. A reminder of how sport can bring a nation together, even if it's just for a short while. But as we know, sport on June 12th doesn't always go according to plan.
No, definitely not. You just have to think back to Euro 2004.
Portugal hosting, the heavy favorites.
And on June 12th, their opening game, they lose.
To Greece.
Yeah, nobody saw that coming. And then Greece, the underdogs, go on to win the whole tournament.
Incredible. It just shows you, doesn't it? The unpredictability.
Exactly. So you've got these huge sporting moments, the joy, the shock, happening on the same date as major political movements. It's fascinating to see the different ways human passion plays out.
Okay, let's move into the world of diplomacy now. And a pretty unique moment, historically speaking. June 12th, 2018.
The Singapore summit, Trump and Kim Jong-un.
The first time ever a sitting U.S. president met with a North Korean leader. What was the real significance there? Was it just symbolic?
The symbolism was huge. You can't deny that. Whatever concrete outcomes there were or weren't, the mere fact of them sitting down together face to face, that was a major break from decades of, well, established diplomatic practice.
A real shift.
A real shift. Just highlights how international relations are always changing, always capable of producing, unexpected moments of dialogue.
But June 12th also holds some incredibly difficult memories. Deep tragedy. We have to talk about June 12th, 2016.
Yes. The Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando.
Just devastating. A terrible loss of life. A horrific reminder of violence and hate.
It's so important to acknowledge these moments of profound sorrow. Pulse was. It was just horrific. It hit the LGBTQ plus community and really the whole country so hard.
It's such a stark contrast.
It really is. A painful contrast to some of the other more celebratory or diplomatic events we've discussed. It makes you wonder, how do we as a society hold both? How do we remember such different kinds of events happening on the same calendar day?
That's a tough one. It really speaks to the complexity of memory, doesn't it? And almost unbelievably, on that exact same night, June 12th, 2016.
The Pittsburgh Penguins won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah. It's such a jarring juxtaposition. Even amidst national grief, life, and even moments of collective joy, they just continue.
It highlights that complexity, that multifaceted nature of being human, I suppose.
Yeah.
The capacity for terrible suffering and, well, moments of shared elation existing side by side. How do we process that? It's a fundamental question.
Okay, let's change gears again. June 12th has also been a day for new beginnings, new ventures, like the inaugural European Games.
Ah, yes. Launched in Baku, Azerbaijan, on June 12th, 2015.
A new multi-sport event for the continent. What was the idea behind that?
Well, it was pretty ambitious. The
Mhm.
aim was basically to create a kind of European equivalent to the Olympic Games, fostering competition, but also that sense of continental unity through sport.
Mhm.
It connects back to that theme of collaboration we saw with Austria and the EU.
Interesting connection. And sticking with beginnings and innovation, but in tech. June 12th, 1994.
The first flight of the Boeing 777.
That plane really changed air travel, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The 777 was revolutionary for long-haul flights. Its size, its efficiency, its range.
Mm.
It made the world smaller in a way. It's kind of amazing that the same date marks the start of a new sporting tradition and a huge leap in aviation. Two totally different fields.
And going even further back, into sports history again, June 12th, 1932.
Bayern Munich.
Their very first national football title in Germany. The start of something massive.
Exactly. A foundational moment for one of the world's biggest football clubs. So you put that together with the European Games launch, the 777's first flight. June 12th definitely seems to be a day for kicking things off, doesn't it? Across all sorts of areas.
Now, turning to legacies and remembering those we've lost, June 12th is also a day of solemn remembrance. Medgar Evers.
Yes, the civil rights activist, tragically assassinated on June 12th, 1963.
His fight for equality was so important, and it ultimately cost him his life.
His assassination was just a devastating blow to the movement, his work, his courage, and ultimately his sacrifice. It really underscores the intense, violent resistance that activists faced. Remembering his death on this day is, well, it's a very powerful and sobering reminder of that struggle.
And on a completely different note regarding time and legacy, June 12th, 2013, the death of Jiro Kimura.
Ah, the last man known to have been born in the 1800s.
An incredible age, 116 years old. Think of the history he lived through.
It's extraordinary, isn't it? His life literally bridged 2 centuries, a direct link to a world that's so different from ours now. His passing on June 12th really marks the end of an era in the most literal sense.
But June 12th isn't just about endings, it's also about beginnings, births. George H.W. Bush, born June 12th, 1924.
A life that spans so many crucial roles.
Fighter pilot, diplomat, CIA director, vice president, president. His career really intersected with huge moments in 20th century history.
Definitely. His birth on June 12th links this date to a very long and undeniably impactful career in American public life.
And in the world of music.
Chick Corea, the jazz legend, born June 12th, 1941.
His creativity, his influence, it's immense, still felt today.
Absolutely. An incredible musical force. It's wonderful to note that such artistic talent came into the world on this particular day.
And bringing it more up to date, we have model and activist Adriana Lima, born 1981.
And Canadian soccer icon Christine Sinclair, born June 12, 1983.
Sinclair's goal-scoring record is just mind-blowing, the most international goals ever for men or women.
It's truly historic, and Lima has used her platform effectively, too. It's just fascinating, isn't it, how June 12th connects people from fashion, politics, music, sports, all making their mark in very different ways.
Okay, let's wrap up with a few, maybe slightly quirkier, but still interesting details and cultural moments tied to June 12th.
Always room for those.
How about the Swiss Army knife, patented on June 12th, 1897?
Huh. That little red knife. So iconic.
A global symbol of practicality, really.
It's amazing, isn't it, that this simple, ingenious tool, you find it everywhere, got its official start on June 12th. It really speaks to enduring design, I think.
And in movie history, June 12, 1939, filming started on Dr. Cyclops.
Ah, Hollywood's first horror film in Technicolor.
A big step for the genre visually.
Definitely. It brought this whole new level of vividness, visual impact to horror movies. A little reminder of how technology keeps shaping art and culture.
And speaking of culture and history, centuries after the original burned down, Shakespeare's Globe Theatre reopened in London.
On June 12, 1997. A fantastic moment.
A real revival. What does that say about our connection to the past?
Well, reopening the Globe was huge. It reconnected audiences with Shakespeare in a space that, echoed the original. It really highlights the enduring power of great literature and our desire to sort of preserve and re-experience our cultural roots.
And one last one, a tough one. Rio de Janeiro, June 12th, 2000. The hostage crisis on bus 174.
Yes, and the incredibly powerful documentary that came out of it.
It really forced a national conversation in Brazil, didn't it, about some deep social issues.
It absolutely did. That tragic event and the film that followed provided this really stark, critical look at inequality, violence, the justice system. It sparks vital, difficult conversations. It just underscores how a single day's event can echo, prompting reflection and debate long after.
So wow, we've covered a lot of ground, all anchored to June 12th. It's definitely not just another date on the calendar, is it?
Not at all.
It's packed with this incredible range. Moments of intense joy, deep sorrow, political breakthroughs, sporting drama, personal milestones. It really does feel like a microcosm of the human experience.
It really does. And what's fascinating to think about, maybe for you listening, is are there hidden threads connecting some of these things? Events happening on the same day, seemingly worlds apart.
Or how do the echoes of these past events, Reagan's speech, Anne Frank's diary, a football match, a tragedy, how do they still resonate today?
Exactly. Hopefully this deep dive into June 12th has sparked a bit of curiosity. Maybe you'll look at other dates on the calendar a little differently now, wondering about the hidden stories and connections they might hold.